I'll be honest with you, I don't fully know what I'm here to talk about. All I know is I have infinite things to say because they've been flowing through me all day. So I'll begin by saying that I just ask God to guide my words. And I'll begin by saying that I've spent the day today writing poetry all day on my typewriter. Choose topic, receive poem. People walk up, give me a topic, and then I write them a poem on the spot. And I've written, I don't know, a dozen or two poems today. And to be seen, to be received, to be met with reciprocity, to be honored in the offering of my gifts and my medicine to people of all kinds is truly a magnificent thing, and it makes my soul, my heart, my whole body feel alive. If you want a poem, DM me on Instagram. It's donation based. It's not why I'm here. Why I'm here is because the moment that I spend a good amount of time and energy within that space of being the flower that I am, embodying the purpose of my soul, the blueprint of my soul, and allowing it to bloom. So many fears fall away. All the patterns that normally weigh me down, it's as if they don't exist. I guess that's not entirely true. There are still moments when those patterns present themselves and I'm like, oh, that's here. How to work through it in whatever way. But like the fears and the patterns and the heaviness and the weight, the density, the karmic chains, though they may be there, they feel so much lighter and so much more powerless in face of the infinite potency of my soul and my light and my connection to God. Which are truly infinite. Infinite, ineradicable, immortal, beautiful, magnificent, magical, resplendent, rooted in truth, free, sovereign, divine. To where, as I talk a lot about free will on this channel and in my life, I am reminded in an embodied way of free will's ability and necessity to choose within these oscillations between that karmic weight which pulls us away from our soul's calling, and then the soul's calling itself. And how much momentum is derived, is generated from that first step, that first rolling of the snowball down the mountain, of doing the thing wherein you're standing in your purpose. Because when you stand in that momentum and the snowball really starts to roll down the mountain, then it becomes seamless, effortless. And my day was such an example where it started off really slow and difficult and like, what the hell's going on? What is this? And then the moment like the first person showed up, asked for a poem, I was like, oh yeah, I can write a beautiful poem. And then I like get into my soulful flow. And then the next person, and then the third. And after 3 or 4, then I'm really in the flow and everyone's like, whoa, there is some magnetic light right there. And we are interested. We are going to be drawn to this light. And we're going to see what it's about. Just like if you go into the mountains and there's a field of flowers, well, most people, if they're in tune with their hearts, they're going to see those flowers and they're going to stop and observe them. Or whatever flowers they may be, whether they're mountain flowers, like actual mountains. Mountains are flowers. Streams are flowers. Everything is a soul flower, is what I'm trying to say. And here I have stood today in the blooming of my soul. And the place that has taken me is I was like so tired today. I was so like in a lot of ways dead, not feeling it. Like with very little willpower to get things done, like moving very slowly and like, because I stayed up really late writing last night and I didn't sleep well. But nevertheless, I persisted, and once I tapped in to the infinite wellspring of my soul, that is just like this geyser is here. And it doesn't matter if you're on 3 hours of sleep, 35 hours of sleep. Once the river is flowing, then it can't be stopped. And the creative stream carries the breath of God within it. And the waters of God, and the fire of God, and the earth of God, and the spirit of God. Oh. And of course, the medicine of God. Why am I sharing this? Because I want you to feel that. I want you to know that it's accessible to you at any time. And maybe there's these densities that you have to wade through. There's like this muck. There's a really tall and steep mountain trail that you have to climb just to get a glimpse of the top of the mountain. But if you power through in those moments where like you sit down to write, you sit down to draw or to paint, to make music, to do whatever that creative flow calls you to do. And it's not working for a while. You're kind of stuck. But you just keep going and going and going. Eventually it clicks. And then it's not just that you enter that flow and then enter into that creativity in that moment. Then you're in that energy field, in that frequency of your authenticity and of your soul's blooming for the rest of the day in whatever activity you're going to do. If you're going to see friends, you're now in the vibrancy of your soul. If you're going to work, you're in the vibrancy of your soul. And people are going to feel it. If you're going to the beach, if you're going to nature, if you're going to the store, no matter what, you're still carrying that frequency of creation. And then just by being in your body, in that sense, in that sensorial experience of being, other people, whether they're conscious of it or not, they can feel it and they are healed by it. And the world itself benefits from your presence. That's if you just get in the creative flow, you do your creativity, and then you go out in the world and you just are. You just exist. Now, if you hone in on your gift and you refine your gift and you find ways to offer it to the world, then people can receive it and they can see it and they can be like, whoa, this is beautiful. And their hearts can be touched by it. And the medicine of your soul, the medicine of the flower that you are, can be received and it can heal. And then what happens there? Someone is healed by your presence. And there are two things that come to mind as that happens. On one hand, how good does it feel to heal someone else? To witness your medicine being offered, received, and transform someone for the better. That it inspires them to tap into the spires of their own breath, of their own sovereignty, of their own freedom, of their own divinity, and to see that within themselves. Like, oh my goodness, I too am a child of God. I too am a creation of God, and I too am a creator. And I too can offer my gifts and my medicine and my creations to the world. I too am a flower which can bloom. So yeah, on one hand, how good does that feel to you? To witness you making someone else feel so beautiful, so good, so healed. And on the other hand, that person is now embodying that frequency, is now just by way of simple being in authenticity and freedom and truth and love, in alignment with divinity, with God. Now their mere presence is an act of medicine in reality, and their ripples are touching everyone else's hearts and souls and inspiring on a conscious or unconscious level. And so the ripples of you offering your gifts, offering the gift of your presence, blooming into the flower that you are, offering the medicine, the medicinal qualities of you refining your gifts and offering them to the world, that then ripples into other people feeling called and allowed to be their medicine in the world, to offer their medicine to the world. And so your little heart ripple ripples into other infinite heart ripples. And setting aside how important it is, given the current state of our world, primarily just how beautiful it is. If you're walking through a mountain meadow and you see one flower, yes, it is beautiful. And I love when I find that tiny little flower and I'm like, ooh, look at that beautiful flower. And it brings so much joy into my heart, into my entire being. But when I see a field of flowers in a mountain meadow, there's no greater joy on earth. And you can probably ask any of God's creatures, any of God's creations, if there is a greater joy on earth than a mountain meadow full of blooming flowers, than any place full of blooming flowers. The birds sing about it in the spring. They are in resplendent joy, in reverence and celebration of resurrection, of the resurrection of Christ. The deer, the eagles, the hummingbirds, even the fish. I don't know if the fish know anything about flowers, but the whales certainly do. The insects, the cicadas, the bears definitely know about flowers. After their hibernation, the wolves, the coyotes. You've probably seen videos of lion cubs or I forget what the baby deers are called. Does? Prancing through the flowers. I'm digressing here. What I am saying is that every single being in the universe rejoices, including the flowers themselves, when the flowers come into bloom. So allow yourself to bloom. That's all it is. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying it from a place of blooming all day. I've actually I've gone through the stages of walking through the muck, walking through the mud of the lotus. No mud, no lotus. And then blooming. And then people being like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then feeling other people blooming in response. And that being beautiful. Magnificent. Magical. And fulfilling, ascendant, and healing. For every time one of my poems is received and I truly witness it touching something, like I wrote a poem, what was it about? About returning home. And the girl who received it was like, I don't know how you knew any of that, but every word in this poem was directly applicable to my life. And I was like, I didn't do it. I just allowed the great energies to flow and for the medicine to bloom. Why was I saying that? Because then, as you bloom, as you offer these gifts, as you offer the gift of your presence, you allow the divine mystery to unfold more seamlessly, more beautifully, more intentionally. And you get to be a part of it. And you get to be one with it. And let it guide you. And once you start riding that momentum, not just for a day or a few hours, but the days begin to accumulate into one another. That's the goal. Because then you really start to embody your soul's mission. And then you really start to see healing happen on a more macrocosmic level. Where it's not just, a nice little interaction with an individual, with an individual. We're talking world peace. We're talking universal liberation. We're talking systematic eradication of deceit systems, psyoptical controlled illusions. The abolition of prisons. The serious things, which are themselves the macrocosmic projections of the muck that you're like wading through, of the really tall and steep trail of just that single choice of like, oh, I don't really feel like writing right now. Oh, I don't really feel like painting. Oh, I'm doing it, but it's just not flowing right now. Oh, the music, it's just not there. And this is where free will comes into play. As a practice of cultivation, where you build the habit of every day at 11 a.m. or whatever time, I write for 1 hour. No matter what. And if it's not flowing, I write about how it's not flowing. Or if I'm a painter and it's not flowing, I just paint whatever it is until something comes. Because eventually something comes. And if you do it every day and you build up that practice, then you get into the flow more easily, because your brain and your nervous system are wired to know, like, okay, now it's time to create at this exact time every day, when the sun is in this position in the sky and the stars and the luminaries are here directed in this alignment, even though they're always changing. Your body knows it is time to create, and thus it naturally will enter that flow. And then you can offer your gift more readily, more seamlessly. And then that can ripple out into your day, and you can just more naturally become that. Cultivate that form of being as the cornerstone of your existence, as opposed to the muck and the patterns of avoidance, which themselves, when they ripple out macrocosmically, become war and prisons and slavery and deceit and government and all of the systems of falsity and control, which we need to do away with collectively as a human race. By microcosmically choosing individually to read these patterns from our bodies within ourselves. So it's like the healing work of following your soul's calling and following your joy, which is like the most radiant, the most beautiful, joyful thing that you can possibly do, becomes a way of combating the most deepest darknesses and evils that reality has ever known. You are combating those very things. And I hear a car coming. So I'm going to conclude this video with that. Allow your soul to bloom. Literally just choose right now, or whenever you feel ready to choose, make that choice. I choose to follow my passion, to follow my joy, to follow my creative gifts, and to offer them to myself and to the world. I choose to feel the flower of my soul and to allow it to bloom, whether other flowers choose to bloom or not. they will. Because when one flower blooms, others always will with it. So, choose to bloom, and you will heal the world. That's all it is.
Hi,
Yo,
Carl.
what's up?
Not much.
Cool.
What's up with you?
I just finished recording a YouTube video.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's over. Should I pause it?
How long does it say it is?
It cuts off the top of your head.
It does?
But just a tiny bit.
Okay. It's annoying.
27. I was wondering if you